Okay, as you can see, taking my daily walk, I changed the tone so you can actually see what I see. You can see there's a large black space in the sky. It's triangular shaped. And then over in this direction, if you look carefully as I cross this street here, you will see what looks like people or things laid out across the clouds. Now they are there, as you can see, very dark shaded. Luckily there's triangle shape, and usually those black areas that show up like that in the sky are filled with objects. Kind of hard to tell sometimes, but you can see them with the eye if you train your eye correctly. And as you can see, there's these looks like legs and bodies across the top of these clouds in there. And as you'll see as I go through, there'll be eyes that are looking at me constantly and things of that nature, which is normal. I'll look back to my reverse, and right there's two gentlemen. I will point at it. There are two guys flicking me off. They don't like me very much. Yeah, and you see I kind of backtracked just a tad bit, just so you can see it. Pointed out some of these areas that are definitely filled with now I haven't gone through this thing entirely in slow motion. I will have it slowed down a little bit for you guys so you can see here, but you'll see them. They're along there, and I point them out very easily. Fortunately, this view gives you kind of a, yeah, that kind of freaked me out. I was actually going to look over my head, and something cast a shadow over me, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, it's a little strange. It happens sometimes, but kind of freaked me out. But you'll see these certain objects that are sticking out and getting a good look at me. They tend to really come out when I'm out for some reason. I do notice some of them craft, they kind of sit outside my apartment in the morning waiting for me to exit, and that's a normal thing. But as you can see here, more up there in that direction, kind of clear as day. Can't really, there in that direction also. I'll pan back and I'll start taking pan shots of the sky, and you can see these shapes. These shapes are obvious. They're very obvious. They stick out. And there's also some stuff in there, if you pay very close attention, that just don't look right. They just don't fit. And right there was obvious. Right there, I get a good look at it. If you notice the camera is kind of also a good tool too. These objects, whatever they are, they tend to cause your focus to go out. I've noticed this problem a lot, and I believe it's because of the magnetic field that kicks off of these particular objects like this that I'm looking at. And as you can see there's similar to a serpent. I catch that quite a bit, and I also catch a hawk or eagle of some sort. Do you see the round object that looks like a planet of some sort or ball in the air, and you see it just kind of peeking out around that cloud right there? Now that'll disappear. That will go away as I'm walking. But you see how they can manipulate, how easily they can manipulate. Now do you see where it's at? See, it makes you see that? Isn't that kind of crazy? So he's sitting up into that top right corner, and he's doing something right now. While I was filming this, he did become visible. You could see it perfectly. You can see the sort of force field, I guess you could say, around this object. And they like to sit pointing up a lot of the time. And I think it's for visual effect, just so you can't see it as well. You're not giving as much space for anything below it to see it. But these objects are pretty much everywhere. I see, as you can see here, there's a huge face, but there's also little things in there waving, and there's, you know, I've seen just about everything you can at this point. And you see these strange formations that sit on top. Now that's why I toned the color so that you could get a very good look at that. But do you see that? That is a very strange tubes-like shape. Almost looks similar to the hose. There's an object next to it that is sitting there looking, and then there's an object in front of it also that's standing there. It's kind of hard to see in this view, but there's also one in front of it. You know, you have to forgive me for the shaking. And as you can see, that thing's just sitting there trying to focus with the camera and, you know, mess with my camera and get itself into a position where it's not visible. You know, as you can totally tell here that I have my eyeball on it, and it's trying very hard to mask itself. They tend to do this a lot, and like I said, you can obviously see this sort of field around it. Now I'm not sure if that is part of the propulsion or if that's the cloaking, but I digress. Doesn't really matter at this point. They are up there, and as I pan around and you pay close attention, you will see what I see. Now you see there's a vortex right there on the right side of the screen. It's aiming up. It's heading up. I run into this a lot. So when there's a vortex like that, usually if you look above it or below it, you will see an object. As you can see, that object is casting shadow across the sky. A lot of people do not pay attention to really what is going on around them. And this shadow will cast on you while you're walking. Now, I'm, pretty aware of my surroundings, and I tend to look everywhere. And I catch this on camera all the time. I'll snap shots where you can see it travel over me. And we're talking huge. We're not talking small objects. These are huge. And you see him, he's almost got himself into a position to where I can't, but that's kind of why you have to check. I personally slow these down to absolute nothing speed wise, and I will go through frame by frame just in case. I've caught orbs, I've caught all kinds of things. And as you can see in that one right there, what looks like a tail, to the left of it there's like an arrow shape, a V shape. That is also seen a lot. One to be, keep your eyes open for. It does show up a lot, but you can still sort of see that round object. I am not positive as to what I believe that is a projection that is causing, or that might be it sucking up part of the cloud. Because if you notice what looks like an eye below that round thing, it looks like it's pulling it around the edge of that cloud. So it could be it causing that vortex that is also there on the just off the screen. It is pretty amazing, and you'll see I look up and I catch most of these objects. They are everywhere, and they are, they're getting a little bit better. They're learning how to spread out the clouds a little bit better, but you can't mimic nature. I don't care how advanced you are. This is not our normal sky. This is not normal. As I showed in my other video, where I showed the sunset of Alaska that was taken. Now, there's two ways you can take that. That particular one had some images in it that were very questionable. And it showed a cube at the end. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a cube there. And if you know things about projection and that, you know that a cube can be used as a hologram. So, are we seeing a falsified sky so that people can't tell the difference? I suggest people start, digging into history a little bit, looking into the Sumerians and the true story of our creation and where we came from. And the serpent and the eagle that I run into a lot, they do actually signify something. And this is the time that things are supposed to happen. So I would dig into that, look into your history a little bit, and then, look into the holographic projections and how they're done. And as you can see here, this is the normal on a day-to-day. And what surprises me is that people don't pay enough attention to their surroundings to realize what's going on. We are under a type of control, and we're being manipulated on a constant basis. And this is not how life was supposed to be. It was not. The teachings of old will tell you that. We have free will. There's no reason why things should be like this. So, as I said, I hope you, take heed. Look a little bit into your past, look into your name. Your name holds a lot of meaning. Even if it's a common name, look into the ancient origins of your name, where it came from. And each part of your name, syllable-wise and all, has a very definitive meaning. And it could give you an idea as to what you should be doing at this time. I also would recommend you start learning your chakra points and things of that nature, and start balancing and opening up yourself to the message that is being supplied to the world right now. A lot of people are not seeing the good things that are around us anymore, because we have so much bad with these evil things constantly.